Hold on there. It's never too early to start making Christmas decorations. What the heck was I thinking with this goofy hat? There we go, much better. In this video, I'm going to show you a quick way to whip up these awesome spiral trees. Trust me, you'll be cranking these out faster than Santa's elves on Christmas Eve. And guess what? This is the perfect project for using up some of those random scraps you have lying around your shop. Plus, it's a fun way to get the kiddos involved. This one's made from a single fence picket, and this one, well, we'll get to that. Welcome to the wood shop. I'm Brett, your holiday helper. Now, I can't take all the credit for this speedy method. A super smart fella named David Steinhauser reached out and said that he came up with a quicker way to make these trees. Yeah. And I was like, heck yeah, let's share that magic. Wow. Big thanks to you, David. All right, let's dive in. First, we're gonna make 2 jigs out of whatever leftover sheet goods or 1-bys you got laying around. I found a 27-inch piece of MDF. Sure, 36 inches would be ideal, but hey, 27 will do just fine, you know? Let's rip these pieces down to size on the table saw. Here's something you don't see too often on YouTube. It's called a blade guard. Now, the measurements don't gotta be exact. Each jig is made of 2 pieces, a platform and a fence. I'll put the dimensions in the description below so you can be a jig master too. The first jig is for the drill press. The second one's for the miter saw. You just smear on some Bossdog Wood Glue and clamp that fence to the platform. You can use brad nails or screws if you want, but no metal where the blade's gonna go. Trust me, that's a recipe for disaster. While that's drying, let's start cutting the slats on the table saw. Oh, and here's a nifty tool my buddy David came up with, let me tell you. A height and width calculator. Just plug in the number of slats, how thick they are, and the angle, and it'll tell you how wide and tall your tree will be before you make your first cut. Minus the star and base, of course. You can grab this calculator for free on my website. Check the link in the description. I want to see how tall of a tree I can make out of these 3 2x4... I have 7-foot ceilings. 3 2x4s. First thing we're going to do is trim that roundover off of the edge of each 2x4. Set your fence to 1/2 inch and get ripping. You can slice up to 5 strips from one 2x4. Now, while everything's long and flat, let's sand off any pesky footprints or other stray markings. Next, set your miter saw to the desired angle. Lower angle, skinnier tree. Higher angle, fatter tree. I went with 13 degrees because that's the magic number. Don't forget to set your depth stop on the miter saw so it doesn't cut all the way through the platform. We want 1 piece, not 2. You just want to score it, okay? Place a short scrap of 2x4 against the fence and cut the angle. We'll call this the stop block. Now grab a stack of slats and line them up along that angle you made and make your first cut. Flip the stack over and snug that beveled end up against the stop block. And with this first one, make that top slat nice and square, about 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. Set those aside, except for the longest piece. We're going to use that to line up our next cut. Do you see how quick and easy this is? No measuring, no marking, just perfectly sized pieces popping out of the miter saw like rabbits out of a hat, don't you know? Now let's play a game. See if you can tell me how tall and how wide this tree will be. I'll give you a hint. 1 2x4 gives you 55 slats at 1/2 inch thick. Pause the video and go use that free calculator. I'll be right here. Okay, let's keep going. Just keep taking the longest piece to line up the next stack of slats until you reach your desired tree height. Now it's hole drilling time. Use any 1/2 inch bit you got. I'm using my favorite brad point bit from Owl Tools. If you don't have a set of brad point bits, put it on your Christmas list. Trust me, they're a woodworker's best friend. Use a 1/2 inch slat to line up your jig with the 1/2 inch drill bit. That way, your hole is centered in the 1.5 inch slat. Nifty, eh? Make a mark on the platform and draw a center line. Now find the center of the longest one, and then stack them up using that same stop block we made earlier. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. If you're using cedar fence pickets, we'll cut the width instead of the thickness. These are already 5/8 of an inch thick, so that'll work just fine. But this time we're not going to make 1.5 inch slats, because you'll only end up with 3 strips with a bunch of waste left over. You can actually get 4 strips with no waste and without measuring. Just line up your ruler at a diagonal to the 8 inch mark and make a mark every 2 inches. That's the kind of easy math they're teaching in school these days. If you're having fun, hit that like button. If you're not, just subscribe. I promise, I won't take it personally. Now let's find out how wide our cedar tree will be using that free calculator. Remember, the thickness is 5/8 of an inch, and you can get 36 slats from one fence picket. Before we start sliding these pieces onto the dowel, go ahead and get comfy, because we're going to want to sand off all those sharp edges. Trust me, if there's kids around, they're going to want to play with your nifty wooden tree, and we don't want any boo-boos or splinters on those little fingies. Just a couple more steps. We need a base for the tree to stand, and maybe a star for the top if you're feeling festive. For the base, stack up some of those offcuts about 3 high. Use some more Bossdog Wood Glue and some pins to hold it all together. Then drill a hole in the center. If you want a cheap set of plans for this tree, check out my website. Link in the description. And don't forget to sign your masterpiece. Be proud of your work. Easy peasy, make some treesy. Gosh, that's corny. Am I really gonna say that? Thanks for watching. Happy woodworking, and have a holly jolly Christmas.